So what I asked you before we started, what would you describe what you do for a living? What would you describe it as?
I say fitness first and foremost, but right. I've kind of delved more into, the last 5 years, it's gone more into kind of personal development stuff as well, mindset, personal development.
Yeah, and you've got the podcast, the Renegade Radio, and am I correct in thinking you had a gym as well?
I had a gym, yeah. So I started training people in '94, and then I opened a gym a few years later, saved up money, and I had that for 15 years until my wife and I moved out here 6 years ago.
Where was that, the gym?
In Jersey.
In Jersey.
Yeah.
So 94, bloody hell. How old are you?
I'll be 43 in September.
Right. So one of the big questions I was going to ask when we're halfway in the podcast, but we'll ask it now, is how can you see the changes in the fitness industry since then to now? I'm sure they've changed massively, right?
Yeah, for sure. Back then, obviously, there was no social media. There was even no internet. So it was a lot simpler then. And I see now why people have so much information overload and get so confused and don't know what to do because they have so many options all the time. Back then, you kind of just had to figure it out, and you learned in the gym, which is, what real strong people do. They don't sit on the internet all day. But, things have changed just in so many ways, but not all for the best, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what? Do you like it back then?
Do what?
Did you prefer it back then?
I did, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, old school.
The 90s, old school. Yeah, for sure.
I think one of the main things is that, like you said, people have got way more information now.
Yeah.
But things are changing so quick. It's just like 1 minute, just for an example off the top of my head, is one thing, just the coconut oil thing from 2 weeks ago. It's like a year ago, it's like healthiest thing ever, and then it's bullshit, but now it's like not healthy, and then it's like, oh, you're supposed to do it this way, and then it's changing like every 6 months, every year. It's just everything's getting conflicted, and then back to this, and back to that. It's like fasting's bad for your metabolism, now fasting's good for your metabolism. It's just like,
you can find studies and research, I think, to support anything.
Definitely,
really, if you look long and hard enough. Yeah, absolutely.
So that must be the problem with the information overload, that you can find things that say it's good and it's bad. The same with training, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's funny. My best clients forever, from the time I started until now, are people who don't read anything about training. Because if you read everything about training, like you said, you will have no idea what to do, or nutrition, you have no idea what to do every day.
Interesting.
Yeah, it changes every day. So the most successful guys would be guys that invest in themselves. They pay someone else for a coach and like, dude, I don't want to interpret all this information, all these studies and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Here's money. Just tell me what to eat. Tell me what to do. I think that's the smartest plan for anybody.
Yeah.
What are some of those platforms out there that you think, as far as, are they certifications? Are they seminars? Are they coaching, like online coaching? What is it that you think is a great resource for energy? Not energy. Information.
So elite. I think Elite Fitness. Dave Tate's site's a great source.
Elite Fitness. What's that? A website?
Yeah. I think it's elitefts.com.
Right.
That's always been a great site. On it, obviously. What else do I read? I personally try to go on a low information diet.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think most people should, because it just overwhelms you. But
so you do it's daily blogs, right?
It used to be. I used to write all the time. Now I probably do still send out. I write a new email probably 4 or 5 days a week. I don't always post it to the blog. The reason for that is things have changed, marketing has changed and whatnot, and people are confused. This could be a whole nother topic, but people think that a lot of people will tell you that email died and social media is the best. That's not actually true. Yeah. If you want to sell shit, can we curse on here?
Oh yeah.
If you want to sell shit, email actually I think is still the best.
Email is king.
Oh, 100%.
Always has been.
Yeah.
But with the email, you've got to be. I mean, with social media, you have as well, but you've got to be so consistent with it, right?
Yeah.
So I've been getting a few of your emails because when I said that I asked you to come on here, I thought I'll look on your website and I sign up, and the information on there, what you send is like great. Like, where do you get all that info from?
Just from doing this since '94.
So, but like there's new shit on there as well. So you must be revising all the time or reading up on stuff all the time, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely still read and, keep up with stuff. But like I said, low information, a limited number of sources. And I'm fortunate enough to, after having been in this industry for so long, most of the guys at the top I'm close friends with. So I kind of just talk to them, like you guys would, like in the trenches, what's really working? Who cares about, clickbait articles and shit like that? Or what, like people who really know what's going on aren't going to change their mind from a study that they read yesterday. It's like, dude, I've been doing this long enough. I get it. I know what works.
Right.
It's interesting. We've said this before on our podcast, just doing these podcasts and having these conversations on a regular basis. It's amazing how much you start to subliminally learn and pick up things and just, get inspired with it all. It's good.
Yeah. So if I have an idea or a question about something, I'll text Joe DeFranco or Smitty or Dr. Mark Chang, or I know, Pavel lives in my building, guys like that. And it's like talking to them as opposed to just reading something on social media or something, you're going to learn way more.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like by podcast, like you said, podcasting as well, your podcast, you've got over 500 episodes. Is that right? Or not?
No. I think we're not even at 200 yet.
Oh, you're not?
Yeah.
Maybe I was not the wrong one. but even near 200 episodes, or might have been over 500 reviews you've got on your podcast.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
what
exactly.
it was. Yeah. But even over 200 episodes, you must be learning a lot from your guests as well, right?
Absolutely, every time.
Because that's what you're saying. We learn a lot from guests.
Yeah, it's amazing.
No matter who
It's a
they are.
great source of
Yeah,
learning
every
doing
time.
podcasts.
So with all the changes, where do you see the industry going now? Do you think it's all going to go online or not? Because that's what we debate about this all the time. We talk about this all the time about the online training. Is it going to work or is it not going to work?
I think it's been working incredibly well. So originally I was selling ebooks, I was talking about earlier, and then I decided, we needed some kind of continuity, so I transitioned it into kind of like a membership site, and that's done incredibly well. And then we had so that was our lower end $20 a month thing, and that did really well. We got thousands of people in that. Which
That was the ebooks, you said?
No, so the ebooks, I eventually I was like, I want to get something on continuity.
Yeah.
So I started a membership site.
Right.
So we wrote people for that bought the ebooks into a membership site. And then eventually I did a higher price thing, which was $1,000 a month thing. We got people in that. But I know a ton of people who are doing huge numbers with both low end and high end coaching for sure.
I mean, $1,000 a month is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So what would I get if I was coming to sign up? Do you still do this or not?
So I stopped it for a while because when I originally started it, it was kind of just like a last second decision. And I did it incorrectly. I was giving too much away and too much of my time, and it was starting to overwhelm me, and I had nobody helping me with it. Right. So I stopped it for a while, but I'll probably start it up again in the future.
For $1,000, what will I get for $1,000 a month off you?
So $1,000 was an hour phone call per month, and then we do a group call. So there was 20 people in it, so we do a group call once a week, and then there would be accountability, and I would have assignments. You get a training program, nutrition. Check in with me at any time, stuff like that. And then also included in that, we would do 4 meetups throughout the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you feel a lot of pressure doing that?
Yes, that's why I stopped doing it.
Right. I was going to say, just based off what you're telling me right here, I think if I was doing that, I'd feel so much pressure.
So what I did is I gave away too much and didn't charge enough, or charge what I was charging but not do so much, or bring somebody else in.
So this was like a fitness online training for clients or business owners, or?
Yeah, for anybody. But it was also life stuff. So I was also giving them business coaching, like how to build their online business and stuff like that. So it was a lot of stuff I was giving them for that much money. So I should have probably been charging. Most people, colleagues of mine who are killing it with that, were like, you should have charged double for what you were doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
If it was just fitness stuff, I probably could have charged that, and it wouldn't have been so overwhelming. But I also was like, I'll just do everything that I know how to do and that I'm good at and that I'm excited about. And it just became overwhelming for a while.
Did you ever think about outsourcing the other aspects of it and just purely focusing on the personal training side of it, and then outsourcing like the business coaching and the wellness side of it and the nutrition side of it?
I mean, I outsource as much as humanly possible. I'm big on outsourcing. That's one of the things, like when someone comes to work with me, one of the things we do at first is an 80-20 evaluation of everything they do across the board. Yeah. Even something as simple as like doing your own laundry or whatever. I'm like, all right, let's cut that out. Outsource everything. Like use TaskRabbit, use all kinds of apps and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I do, but when I start it up again, I will not so much outsource it, but I have a buddy who helped me out with some of the events. He's going to come in and take some of the stuff off of my plate, and then I'll do what I want to do, and he'll do kind of his specialty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you been training at Box and Burn? Because you've been here a little bit, right? You've been doing your own thing.
Yeah, I mean, I come in probably 2 or 3 times a month. I like to just bounce around and go different places. I don't know, maybe the last 6 months or so.
Right, because it was funny because Steve Krebs, when I was training him, he told us about you, and then one day you just walked out and he went, oh, there's Gia there. I was like, oh shit, I wish I introduced it. Got introduced. So do you work much? Obviously, you know all these big gurus in the industry in America. Do you work closely with them? Do you know much about their business, and is that one of your strengths about that sort of stuff?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I'm close friends with a lot of guys who are big in the fitness industry or online marketing and, you know, do business consulting and stuff like that. So I'm lucky enough and fortunate enough to get to learn from those guys all the time.
Right.
And, you know, like you said, just by being around them, like conversations at dinner, you just learn by osmosis. So,
yeah. How can we make this place better? That's why I asked you.
That was actually going to be my next question. What do you think of here?
Yeah,
he's going to need at least 10 grand to answer that question.
We can't afford the answer.
I'll have to give that some thought.
Yeah.
Have you taken a class or no? You just come in?
No, but I want to.
Yeah.
I want to take a class, and then I want to work with you like Krebs was for a little bit. I think
that would be great. Yeah. So what do you see with gyms in general feeling? You see, because we start often, right? I don't know what does gyms or the people in the fitness industry? What's their biggest downfall? Would you say? Where they're making mistakes?
I think any business has to be. You have to make it someone's third place, like they say in the Starbucks experience. Like it has to, like there's homework and then the gym or whatever your business is. It should be their third place. There has to be community. There has to be connection. That's what people lack in their lives more than anything. So a lot of fitness experts get caught up in all they do is get more certifications and they go to kettlebell seminars and this and that. And all that's great. Like you should be good at your craft no matter what your craft is. If you're a chef, you should be good at that. But it's also, does the front desk girl know your name? Like, do you feel connected to something? Like, do you guys have barbecues? There's got to be community and connection. That's what's missing in the world today more than anything else.
That's a great point.
Like, I just read a good book about that called Tribe by Sebastian Junger. And he just talks about how, you know, we evolved, we would live in groups of 30 to 50 people and you'd know everybody and you'd barely have any alone time, which most people today, alone time is what drives you insane and has you comparing yourself to other people on social media and everything. But like, think about it. You'd get up in the morning, you'd go hunting, you'd be with a group of people, you'd make the food, you'd be with a group of people. At night, you'd sleep together on the floor. Like you were never alone. So people crave that now because we live in a world where you're so isolated and so alone that they want to come to a place like this that has 30 people in the class and everybody knows their name. And then, you know, if you have a group on Facebook and you're just always some way creating that community, that's the most important thing. Like, even if the training's a 7 out of 10, if the community's there, that's what's more important.
Do you see a big push of that? Like towards now, I think there's a lot. The trend of boutique gyms is now certainly blowing up, especially with all the CrossFits. I mean, do you see that? Do you see that as well? You jump around, hop around a lot of different gyms. Is that something that you have noticed? And the big box gyms are kind of on the way out, in a sense.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I don't know many people who like to train in those kind of gyms.
Right.
I don't. I mean, occasionally I go to them, but it's not fun. I don't enjoy it at all. I would rather go smaller boutique gyms and whatnot. And like I said, that community is so important.
Sure.
How would we grow? We've got 2 locations now. We're looking for a 3rd location. How would we grow and keep that community? Because it's hard. Like, I think, Kev, you can tell us, after like we get up to 100 members, we probably knew just about every single person's name. Mm-hmm. When it gets past that 100 mark, it's like you cannot remember everyone's name. So obviously we bring guys in who, and we tell them, make sure you learn people's name and talk to them and all that, which they kind of do. But it's honestly, it's getting hard to keep that community when you grow.
Mm. Yeah, I think I could be wrong on this, but I read something that human beings have the capacity to have meaningful relationships with up to 150 people. I feel like that's the number. But yeah, I mean, it is hard. But I mean, like you're talking about outsourcing, I would just have certain people like that work here, like just make sure you figure out everybody's name and it
kind of becomes the responsibility of the people that you're then hiring to take on that role of building the community. Right. At the beginning, it was the 3 of us knowing every single member's name. Yeah. And then the second gym pops up, and then Tony and Kev are focused on that, and then it becomes my responsibility to know everyone's name. Yeah. Now then I get busier with private training and doing less classes, whatever it is. Then it becomes the other trainers, the newer trainers are coming in, the newer front desk girls' responsibilities to know, you know what I mean? Like you said, it's kind of like a trickle down.
And in an ideal scenario, I mean, if a business can afford it, the person at the front desk, whoever's hired for that role, let's say you have 3 clients coming in and you can't remember everyone's name. So before she says to you, okay, and because she's following everybody on social media, which I think is a good idea for any business too. Yeah. Like, okay, Johnny's coming in for a 1 o'clock it was his son's birthday, wishes, say something like that, or he just won the trophy at the golf club, or so, like anything, like any personal touch you can give them. Like I've been lucky enough to be around Arnold at parties and watch him walk around, and the way he can establish a connection with someone is crazy. Like I've seen him, like 500 people at a movie release party, and his assistant, Daniel Ketchel, who I'm friendly with, will whisper to him right before he gets to somebody. Like, I'm not going to say who it was, but there's someone famous, comedian. Arnold had no idea who it was. Yeah. So he whispers to him who it is and how they tweeted online.
Wow.
And Arnold immediately just goes up and makes him think like he knows him and remembers the tweet and everything.
Wow. That's insane.
And it's a crazy thing. And the guy's like, that was the highlight of my life. Right. It's crazy. Like, Arnold saw...
He's been doing that for years, It's so much practice,
Yeah. But, I mean, that's things that, businesses can do is just say, okay, these people are coming in. Like, follow them on social media. Get to know them. Like, there's no way you guys can remember all this shit, but beforehand, someone could just remind you, or even if you have clients, just, like, make notes. Oh, happy birthday or whatever. Mm-hmm. Simple things as making sure people get birthday cards, or if someone refers you, they get, something like that.
Yeah, I like that. And, I mean, we can't start stalking people on social media, so let's, start stalking people on social media, find out about everything about them. I don't know about that, but that's good what Arnold done. So, what was I going to say? Where do you see your business going now? Are you going to go all online with that training? Is that your goals?
So I mean, I sold the gym when I moved here 6 years ago, so I've been primarily online, but I do like, getting out and speaking, speaking at Luca's events, speaking at various events, doing the podcast, being around people. And I do my own events 4 times a year. So,
what are them?
So they're basically, it's a combination of like fitness and mindset and lifestyle and personal development, and just helping you kind of unleash your strongest self and get out of your comfort zone and things like that. So we have 12 guys come out for a 2.5-day weekend. And, we'll train, we'll do, I'll have them answer a bunch of questions about what's holding them back and try to uncover some truths and, just have them dig deep and figure out what's really going on. Then I just share some stuff that's worked with me and other people I've trained. And then that was kind of the catalyst and the impetus to do the coaching thing, because I did probably 6 of those events. And the guys were always like, oh, man, I wish we could do something else. I wish we could keep a group together. Mm-hmm. And some of my friends, like Luca, for example, were like, man, you should start a group for those guys and do coaching for them, because they want to keep going. And that's the thing in any business. Like, if you don't have the next level, they're going to go somewhere else. Right. So even you guys, for example, could offer a $3,000 a month thing. And otherwise, because some people will want the highest end service. Some people will own, like 30% of the people will take pretty much every upsell, and they'll always want the platinum Mercedes-Benz option. If you don't have it, they're going to go somewhere else. Yeah. And, by that same token, too, a lot of businesses could learn a lot about sequential pricing. So you have low-end stuff for people to get, like entry-level stuff. They buy, and then they become a customer. Kind of Apple does that. Like, you sign up for free, then you buy a 99-cent song, and then you buy an album, and then you somewhere along the way you buy like an iPhone or what the hell
iPad.
But then they kind of downsell you too. It's the same thing if you go to a restaurant, right? So you come in, the cheapest thing is your drink at first, then you get an appetizer, then the the highest end thing is your entree, and then you downsell again and get dessert and after dinner drink. Because people won't ascend forever. A lot of people want to ascend, but then it gets tiring. Like, I'm not going to buy the $10,000 a month thing and the $20,000, so then have other stuff for them to buy after that.
Right. What can we do here? What else can we sell? We sell the unlimited membership, the private training. Where can we go from there? I mean, Steve Krebs was on the podcast, and me and Kev had a meet with him, and he's talking about do business consultation where we can help people in the fitness industry grow their business. But do you think that would be the way to go for us? Or?
I think that's definitely an option. I mean, I remember when Luca and I were here, and he was saying, so what do you guys do with the certifications? So the
certifications, we teach personal trainers and fitness enthusiasts how to teach boxing. So that's kind of blow. We've went around America teaching all these trainers that, and they get CEUs for NASAM, ACE, and all these other personal training courses. So yeah, that's really going really well.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing. And then what about kind of like licensing box and burn gyms or something like that?
Yeah, that's another option. We get asked all the time, at least once a month. But like a few days ago, I got asked twice in one day. can we get a Box and Burn franchise or affiliate and all that? And I mean,
I think what's exciting, and I talked about this. I think we've probably talked about it before, but with the academy, we're developing that curriculum to where if we do start to license or expand and franchise or whatever, we have all that curriculum similar to like if you go work at Barry's Boot Camp or SoulCycle, you have to go and do all that development training initially. So by doing what we're doing with the academy, I know we've got 2 levels, but if we do a 4 and a 5 or end up 6 levels, say everybody you can franchise a Box and Burn, but all your trainers have to come and do all these courses.
Yeah.
Therefore, they have all that curriculum. Now they have the branded Box and Burn training style and methods.
Yeah. So that's actually kind of starting already with our boy down in Orlando who's trying to open up.
Do it. Do you know any? I mean, obviously the CrossFit does it, but any other businesses, companies, fitness industry businesses that's done the affiliate or the franchises? Do you know many people who does that?
My buddy Bedros Koulian does incredibly well with Fit Body Boot Camp.
Yeah.
I mean,
we went to one of his events a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he opens one up every other day or something. It's crazy how fast that's growing. Yeah,
he's smashing it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's definitely something that we're thinking about, and I think we kind of need to do that. We'd need someone in place to take over that, because it's a whole different business to just running in the gym, right?
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I envision moving forward for this gym is, like we were talking about the community before. The only people that can really experience that community are the people that walk actually physically walk through the doors and come and take a class. I think the next challenge and the next step is trying to create that experience for people who aren't in Santa Monica, aren't in LA, or aren't even in America, and trying to develop something online where they can get a similar experience, whether it's private online training or through the online certification courses and stuff like that. But I think that's probably the next step, is giving them that Box and Burn brand feel remotely,
Yeah, I mean, whatever it may be, you should have something online, some kind of ongoing continuity.
Yeah, but I mean, specifically through like a membership,
Yeah.
Where the people are paying online to get the Box and Burn experience because they're not physically here to be in the
What's
gym,
that experience look like, do you think, online?
To me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking, private training packages and merchandise and just kind of everything that we offer here, but
with
trying to figure it out.
So you mean with the
we can offer
private
it
training,
remotely.
with that, would we have to, maybe you can answer this, would we have to do that where it's live, one-on-one,
Exactly,
with them for the full hour?
Virtual reality.
Yeah, virtual reality. But over Skype, because if you're going to do that, you may as well do it in the gym, because the money in Kentucky or wherever it might be in America, the money's not there to pay 150 for a session or 200 for a session.
If you've got a highly customized workout that you're relying on a trainer to program for you, and you're paying him good money to program that session, but then it's on you to go to the gym and actually deliver that session for yourself.
See, this is kind of where I think the online training is maybe not going to be so successful. Because how can you can't literally just sit there on Skype and like privately train somebody.
No, you can't do that. The best way to do that would be, well, there's 2 options. But if you're going to go a high price thing, you would say, okay, every day you sell it. It has, I don't know what the price would be off the top of my head, but let's say you take on, limit it to like 20, 25 guys, so it's exclusive. So it's at least a few $100 a month. Mm-hmm. And then it's every day at noon, I'm doing the workout live.
Right.
So the 20 guys are in there. They're in a private Facebook group. You do a Facebook Live. You do it, and then obviously they can replay it later.
Yeah.
And then they have access to you to answer questions and stuff like that. That would be the best way. And then you could do a low-end thing where you guys pre-record a bunch of stuff that they could just watch on their phone and do at the gym. I would even do both options.
I'm thinking of the market for this as well, and I think it's kind of almost exclusively only going to work with people who have got a pretty high skill level of training. Someone who's severely overweight or doesn't have a clue how to squat or, base level gym
some quality that control, I think, that you will lose out on for sure.
Those are the people that will need that face time and that one-to-one, physical attention. I think it's reliant on a lot of skill level.
Yeah.
People
Jason, did you see you're 42?
Yes.
You're in fantastic shape.
Oh, thank you.
Does that come down to training, nutrition, more nutrition, right?
Your nutrition, yeah.
So tell me about nutrition. What's your diet plan, your regime?
So I never got...
What are you going to say?
You're just checking them out, man.
Check them out.
2 or 3 times now.
Look
like, damn, Tony.
Sarah, if you're watching this on YouTube, check the chest out on this guy.
Is that your pen in your pocket?
Is this a pin?
I grew up as I was a little fat kid, and then I was skinny fat, And then I just ate like everything in sight to gain a ton of weight. Like I graduated high school, same height I am now, I was 147 pounds. And then I got up to like 230, but I was not lean by any stretch of 230.
Yeah.
It's pretty fat. So then I took a long time to get down to like, maybe like 205, 200 or something like that. And I kind of stayed there for a long time. And then it wasn't until 2 years ago that I actually finally got visible abs at 40 for the first time in my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's usually the opposite way around. People get visible abs and it goes at 40.
Right.
So
I just became more strict with my nutrition, just, paid attention. For so many years, it was just running from the insecurity of being a skinny, weak kid. So I was just always eating so much. And I was like, and then it catches up to you. Like you eat shit, and then like you feel terrible the next day. Whereas a kid, you eat shit, you wake up, you feel great.
Yeah.
But now if I eat shit, I feel awful.
Yeah. Totally.
And my joints hurt and everything. Yeah. So I just started cleaning it up, just, way more. I cut down on the amount of protein, which actually made a huge difference for me. I used to eat like 300-400 grams of protein a day. Now I eat
so toxic as well.
I know. Too. Now I eat like maybe 90 to 100.
Yeah.
And a lot more fruit, not a ton of vegetables, more cooked vegetables, some juice here and there.
So if you went through a typical day, like morning routine, like diet and like supplements, workout routine, what would a typical weekday look like for you?
So I'll have, for breakfast, I'll usually have eggs for breakfast and fruit. Mm-hmm. And then I drink coffee. Probably have like 3 cups of coffee a day. Well, it depends. I'll go in those phases where I'm trying to get a shit ton of stuff done, and I'll have like 6 cups of coffee a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I usually have like cottage cheese or eggs and fruit, and then second meal's similar. Might have some chicken. Like if I'm going to train, I'll have starch, so chicken or fish or something, and sweet potato or rice. Post-workout, same thing. So I'll usually have like 4 or 5 meals a day. And then my biggest meal is at night. My wife's an amazing cook, and she cooks all the time.
Yeah.
So we'll usually have whatever she's making that night, like chicken, fish, steak, a ton of white rice or white rice pasta or sweet potatoes. And that's about it.
What do you think about the high-fat diet?
So,
I can tell by your face you've got something good to say about this.
Well, I think it's good if you're a couch potato. I don't think it's great. I know everybody's on that kick now. I just don't buy into it. I never got visible abs because I bought into low carbs and high fat for a really long time. And I was always tired and felt like shit. I was like, I don't know. And then I started eating carbs and not eating so much fat, which is honestly, like, I'm not big into bodybuilding, but there's no physique competitor in history who's done a high fat diet. They usually do a low fat, higher carb diet. So there's got to be something there. They can't all be nitwits.
It all depends on your goals and what you're trying to do.
Yeah, totally. So, but if you're doing a lot of anaerobic training, strength training, sports, I just don't think, like, people can say, oh yeah, you become fat adapted and whatever, and there's other science there. It's still stressful for your body, in my opinion, and it's still stressful for your body. You function better on carbs. Most people do. So I've had so many people who are on low carb, high fat diets, and I switched them over and they finally got lean. And they also fixed their adrenal fatigue and their low body temperature and other issues like that. So I'm not a huge fan of high fat diets.
What about...
I'm not a fan of low fat diets either. And here's the thing, there's like 4 different things. Like our dieting for physique is different than dieting for performance.
Totally.
Dieting for health.
Yep.
I lost track of what the 4th one is, but
so what are you dieting for now?
So I try to have a balance. So I want to look good, but I also want to feel good, and I want to function well, and I want to be healthy. So if it was just for performance, I would actually go even lower fat, probably. But then my joints would hurt. My testosterone goes to shit, especially at my age. So,
what do you think about intermittent fasting?
I think it's good. It definitely works well for fat loss. It works for certain people. But everyone's individual. So I did it for a long time and I got great results, but it just became another stressor. So a lot of people today live such stressful lives where you don't sleep, you're stressed out of your mind at work all day, and you're doing high intensity workouts all the time, which, contrary to what a lot of people think, isn't really the best thing. And then it just becomes another stressor, and you just go deeper into that adrenal fatigue and just burn out. So, I mean, it could be great if you're sleeping and everything's good. It's awesome.
That's probably the biggest factor, I think, is what constitutes results is sleep. People
100%.
Like, I've trained people and I'm talking to them about their diet and all this and advising them on eat this, don't eat that, whatever. And then they'll get into it, and then like, I'm still not losing weight, or I'm like struggling with this, and I'm sticking to the diet, and I'm training 3 times a week, and I'm running or doing whatever when I'm not in the gym. I'm like, how are you sleeping? And like, I sleep like shit. Like awake every couple of hours.
Yeah.
Oh, I only slept 4 hours last night. It's like, well, there
and that's
you go.
the number one thing.
Yeah, it's number
no
one.
matter what your goal is,
Yeah.
sleep's the number one thing. But especially people don't think of that for fat loss. But your body's preferred fuel during sleep is fat.
Right.
Like that's how you can get leaner. It's just sleep more.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because Glenn, you're balls deep in intermittent fasting, right?
Right now I'm trying it, yeah. I've been on it, like, experimenting more than anything. I'm not, like, religiously committed to eating at a certain time or anything. I mean, my schedule dictates when I eat.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it could be great.
Monday to Friday, I've been trying to cut out food 4 hours before bed and not eat breakfast until probably 4 or 5 hours, depending on my schedule after I wake up. Just water and coffee in the morning.
And you're feeling pretty good?
I'm feeling great, yeah. My energy in the morning's a lot better.
Okay.
But a big disclaimer on this, I'm putting a big emphasis on sleep too.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get to bed at least an hour and a half earlier than I was before, and focusing on hydration a lot more.
Yeah.
Upping the minerals and stuff like that. And waking up earlier as well. And my energy's a lot better in the morning.
That's another thing that's changing all the time. Diets. We're talking about the fitness industry. Diets are always changing. Like you said, there's never been a bodybuilder in the past that's been this high-fat diet. I've never heard of it before. Have you?
Bodybuilder is on high-fat diet?
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Like was this around like 5 years ago? High-fat
Well,
diet?
so
Yeah.
they tried. Vince McMahon, who owns WWF, WWE.
He's a beast, by the way.
Yeah,
Did you see that recent picture of him?
He's got Glenn
I got so excited.
Super excited.
He's like he's a hero of mine. But there's just a recent picture of him. He's like 71. Just shred. Yeah,
humongous.
Ridiculous. And he looks healthy as well. You know, he looks. You know, he's. You know,
So is he on the high-fat
sharp.
diet? Is that what you're saying?
No, so what I was going to say is he started a bodybuilding federation. You remember that?
I think so. I remember
WBS,
hearing something about it a little bit.
97, 98, something
I
like
remember
that.
hearing something about it, yeah.
And he wanted to drug test all the guys. So they got him on this. And I think Dr. Mauro Di Pasquale is a really smart guy. He wrote a book called The Anabolic Diet and then eventually updated. I forget what it's called now. But he got all the guys on that because they were thinking that the high-fat diet was going to increase their testosterone a lot. But all the guys came in, like Gary Strida, Aaron Baker, all these guys from like the 80s and 90s, they came into the show in the worst shape of their lives. They're like, enough of the high-fat diet experiment. Not the best for physique.
I think it came to prominence with endurance athletes. That's where it started to really kick in.
Yeah.
Ben
The
Greenfield.
high-fat did?
Yeah, just like triathletes and stuff like that, and people experimenting with ketosis and running ridiculous mileages.
Yeah,
and doing
it's funny how
triathlons.
it's come back now, but Dan Duchesne wrote a book about it years ago, cyclic ketogenic diet in the 90s, and same thing with Mauro Di Pasquale. It was called the anabolic diet. It was big for a long time.
What's your thoughts on biohacking? Do you know much about that or not?
I know the term. I don't know what actually qualifies as biohacking. It could be a lot of things.
I love how old school you are too. I think it's great. It's very good.
So,
I'm very much the same, similar minded as you are. I think, but
what does it mean? Just like putting coconut oil in your coffee?
No, like we've just been to, Ben Greenfield. He's a podcaster.
Yeah.
We've just been to his house like a few days ago.
Okay.
And he's like fucking all over that shit, isn't he?
Oh yeah, it's mind-blowing.
Well, I asked him on
it's so fascinating to me. All that stuff.
We did a couple of podcasts with him, and when I asked him about it, he was like, "Nah, I'm not into it. I'm not that much into it." He said, right? Because he was talking about fucking putting shit in your eyes so you can see in the dark and all that.
Yeah.
He said, yeah. What was it called? Chlorothing or something. Puts this stuff in your eyes. People try it so you can see in the dark and
Chlorophyll.
yeah, all mad shit like that. And he was like, so
Did you guys try it?
It dilates his pupils, or what? Is that all it is?
Well, he doesn't do this. He just told us that some people do this.
Oh.
We're like, wow. So, and he's like telling us he's not into it and all that. And then we went in the next room after the podcast, and then next thing, Glenn's got fucking infrared lights on his balls and all that shit. And I've got a massive thing on my head with things on my nose.
Regressing the effects of concussions and all this kind of shit. Yeah. It's so interesting.
But I just find it really fascinating. The likes of, I've spoken about before, like cold showers in the morning and all that. Like, that's been a game changer for me. So what do you think about all that stuff?
I don't do a ton of that stuff. I mean, I respect everyone who's doing it, but I just think it can get a little overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you kind of just live in fear of a lot of things too. I think a lot of people live in fear of everything.
Sure.
Like they can't even go out of the house anymore.
Everything's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
People get woo-woo with that stuff.
Yeah.
There's a healthy level being fascinated and interested in it and experimenting with things, and then there's getting obsessed with stuff and taking it to extreme. And I think with the biohacking stuff, there's quite a lot of people out there that are taking it to the extreme. They're like obsessed.
Well, it's funny
with
because like we were talking before about a business and the importance of community. If you look at the blue zones where people live the longest, you can obviously attribute a lot of it to the diet, but the main thing they say is the community
Workload,
and the connection.
Wow. Healthy mind.
And it's like workload too. They don't overwork. They do like
exactly.
4 or 5 hours of work a day.
Right,
like something
exactly. That's the most important thing. So you can do all this stuff, but if you're stressed out of your mind, you're not sleeping, you have good personal connection or relationships with people, who cares, really?
Right.
Glenn, you've just said there that some people go over the top with biohacking. Do you know what he texted us? Was it last night? He sent us this link, the biohack place in Finland. Let's go there.
Oh, I said that.
You want to go there?
Yeah, the biohacking conference in Finland.
I got to reel y'all back in a little bit. Y'all getting a little carried away with this.
No, I would love to do that shit.
Wait, who's running that?
It's called the Biohacker Summit. It's basically just a conference all about biohacking. But it's in Finland.
I'd like to take a camera there.
October.
I mean, I definitely do. Like,
I would just go and check it out. I just want to learn.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
Just see what's going on.
I do cryo every day.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Cryo's great.
I love cryo.
Love it. Yeah.
And doing cryo every day is a game changer. Like I used to just do it once a week or something, but now I go every day. And it's crazy how much.
You must have some money because that shit's $75 for 2 minutes.
But if you get most places have a monthly package, it'll be like $300-400, and you can go all the time.
What are the benefits of it? You think? As
just the reduced inflammation. For me, like the reduced inflammation is crazy.
That's
it's unbelievable. I sleep better.
Sure.
I have more energy. I seem to be in a better mood all the time. And then after you go. About an hour after you go, you kind of get this little euphoria, right? Yeah. So I do that, and I float once a week for 2 hours.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
With the cryo, I tend to only use it when I'm beat up and sore, or if I've got injuries, or not injuries, but like I'm really sore and beat up, I'll go and do cryo and feel great after it.
Yeah,
but that's
well,
interesting
at 42,
that you said.
I'm like that every day. So
it seems like though that seems something you have to be consistent with. Like if you just do it once every couple of weeks, you think it's going to benefit you.
I get really good results when I go if my hands and wrists are really sore, or my elbows are inflamed. I get an instant result from it. So it's interesting that you said you're going every day. I might start trying to get into more of a routine with it. Yeah.
I think cryo is the soft man's ice bath.
It is.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's also more efficient.
It is more efficient,
but it doesn't shrink your balls either.
Yeah, exactly.
I find you've had ice baths before.
Yeah.
I find the results from them way better than cryo. No?
Really?
Yeah. Do you not? It's much harder to get in an ice bath than the cryo chamber.
Yeah.
But where you live
But I
now,
mean, you're in cryo, it's 250 below. Like the water's not anywhere near that cold.
I just think it'd be much harder. So I think mentally you've achieved much more than that.
Yeah.
So you told me that you and we talked about before, you're going to talk on Luca's event. That's in September, right?
Yes.
A business summit, is that what it is? A business summit?
Yeah. The Vigor Ground Business Summit.
Yeah. So I think we are going to go there. We're going to get a booth and talk about our certification program.
Nice. Are you speaking?
No, I'm not speaking.
Okay,
just trying to promote our product. What sort of stuff will you speak about there?
I will speak about the importance of communication skills and building relationships and getting out of your comfort zone and things like that.
Do you do this often, this speaking in events like that?
I try to, yeah. I mean, I love to whenever I can.
And do you do the same talk every time?
So that's funny. Now I've realized that I should. I used to kind of I mean, people who really speak for a living or stand-up comedians, they have a routine that they go to. But I would usually just change it every time. So it's hard. I mean, I could see improvement, but it's hard. It's like if your workout was different every time, you have no idea what's going on. So now I've realized that if I want to continue really speaking and get better, I got to come up with like a set 30 minutes or 60 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's great.
Which is hard for me because I spent so many years writing. This is going to sound weird, but like I spent so many years writing about fitness online, like building up my online business, that now when I have to sit down and write, like I don't like to write anymore really. Like I can get up in the morning and crank out a 300-word email on fitness. And it's because it's like I can do it with my eyes closed, I don't have to think about it. But now for me to sit down and write other stuff, like for example, I take stand-up comedy and I do improv. It's
nice.
Really hard for me to sit down and do alone now. I don't know why. It's just because, I don't know.
We've been to quite a few of these business, not so much business, but we've the Perform Better ones and other ones. And when we see some of the speakers, a lot of them say the same shit over and over again. And if you've been there a few times, it gets a bit boring, So I think it was good how you mix it up a little bit.
But I mean, usually it is a different audience.
Yeah, it's a different audience. So we're looking forward to going there. If people want to find you, where can they find you?
Jay Ferruggia on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. My site is jasonferruggia.com.
Spell that last name for me because it's a bit difficult.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, if you just go to renegadefitness.com, it'll redirect you to my site, and then you can click everything there. But it's Ferruggia.
Yeah. And I recommend everyone sign up for your blog, and you go to your website, and you can sign up for that, right?
Appreciate it. Yeah. And then Renegade Radio Podcast, renegaderadiopodcast.com.
And we'll tell all our trainers as well to sign up for that because it's very good. Well, thank you for listening to the Boxing Life podcast. And until next time, we'll see you later.